the Douro Valley, before the vines are planted, man must first create his own soil. This is the splintered slate of the Douro Hills. This is the arid nursery of port wine. Into the dry, shattered rubble called schistous soil are thrust the wiry young American vines, immune against phylloxera disease, which years ago wiped out nearly every vine in the Douro Valley. The Portuguese vine is grafted onto the American, and soon the hillsides will blow green with young leaves. But that is not yet. Now it is early spring, and the workers are busy spraying the bright blue copper sulfate, which protects the vine from its natural enemies. The rhythm is slow, patient, and proud. The vines they tend will produce some of the finest village of Tavera, 20 miles from the vineyards of Roeda. Here live the people who will set out in the autumn to pick and tread the grapes. But meanwhile, there's work to be done, at least for some. The boys don't think much of the girls, and the girls even less of the boys, but that's only when they're very young. This is Isabel, dark and soft as the spring thrush, and she is in love. His name is Antonio. He has been long away from Tavera, and he too is in love. Hurry, Isabel. He's brought a present for you. And just for today, the washing may be left to the others. He has brought her a simple gift. But at this moment, if Isabel could choose anything in the whole world, she would choose just this. They are together now, and they will still be together. In the autumn, when the bells ring out over every quinta in the High Douro, proclaiming a time of festival. The vendima, the vintage. From the stony hills come the marching men and women of the far villages. It is autumn, and the grapes are waiting, ripe and heavy. Rockets to greet the Roga, arriving for the highlight of the year. At the end of their long march are the dormitories of the Quinta de Roeda. Here the women will gossip and the men will sleep. Golden and glittering in the morning light, the river sings from the valley floor to the terraces loaded with fruit. young and the old are here. Isabel and Antonio. They pick the grapes and they fill the baskets, and then more grapes and more baskets. The sun blazes down and the work goes on, and on, and on. From these terraces, the grapes travel to the lagar for treading and pressing. Slowly, wheels creaking, resined to give warning of their approach. All on the backs of men, 120 pounds of grapes in each basket. The long trudge through the Douro dust. Nightfall brings music, and the women come to dance in the lagar. The new wine must be moved about, eased, given the means to breathe. This is the process they call monkeying. The wine has been run off, and the grapes that remain are lightly pressed so that none of the wine will be left behind. And here, winter long, in the high Douro, the wine will rest. The vintage is over. To the lady of the Quinta de Roeda is presented the ritual symbol of the occasion, the Rama.
Dominus vobiscum. Oremus, ne facipere in nomine Domini nostri Iesu Christi, per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Viva città rueda! Viva Inghilterra! Viva Servilde! Viva Servilde!
The vendima is over. The players leave the stage. The wine will sleep until it is springtime again, and the world awakes. In the early spring, the drowsing wine leaves its birthplace to journey to the city of Oporto. The casks are cleaned by the river water, and the boats are ready to sail. Down past the rapids in the shallow-keeled Barco Rebelo, down the Douro to the city of Porto. By rail too, by river and rail, down to Oporto. Three days and 3 nights to reach the city of wine. At last, Oporto and the journey's end. Over the wide river rises the city. But for the wine, journey's end is here, the quays of Vila Nova de Gaia, the bonded area where the names on the storage lodges read like a wine list. The vintage is home. New wine in a cask from the high Douro. New wine to be tested, sampled, passed for storage. And then into the laboratory of the lodge. Here is the alchemy of the grape. Tested for sugar content, for the perfect bouquet, for the right taste. Here are port wines in order of seniority. Compare the mature tawny on the right with the youngster on the left. One-year-old and 24. These wines show the gradual change in color as the years go by. Here's a white port made from white grapes. Here on the left is a tawny matured in wood, beside him a vintage matured in bottle. New wine to grow old, pumped into vats which hold 20,000 gallons. And once more, brandy is added. Here the wine shall lie for 10 years, 15, maybe a quarter of a century, ripening in the wood. But it's not left entirely at peace. Each year it is racked, and the clear, bright wine is drawn off. Staves of oak cut from the forests of Portugal wait to hold the ripening port. Day in, day out, the wine lodges ring with the rhythm of the craft of cooperage. A barrel of beer, a cask of wine, a butt of sherry, a pipe of port. "117 gallons to fill each pipe that will leave the lodge. The long, cool sleep is over. The wine is ready for the world." Soon she will sail, out of the mouth of the river of gold, sliding away on the waters of the Douro with her heavy, ripe cargo, past the rising mist, out to where the ocean highway roars in ceaseless surf. The wine goes forth to the world.